Hola y buenos días. Soy yo, el señor Morris. Soy el maestro de español. ¿Cómo están ustedes? Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and start off by singing our canción de saludos. Canten todos conmigo. Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Cómo se sienten? Yo me siento bien. Muy bien cantado. Today, we'll be reviewing some of the materials that we've been covering in our previous lessons, and then discussing a very important event that occurred over 500 years ago. I tell you what, let's go ahead and start off by going over our greetings and salutations. I'm going to show you some people greeting each other, and I want to see if you can tell me what they're going to say to each other. Let's go ahead and look at this right now. Okay. These two guys are just meeting. He walks up and he doesn't know what her name is. What is he going to say? Uno, dos, tres. Hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Repitan. And what is she going to say if he asks, ¿Cómo te llamas? She's going to say, Me llamo Ana. Okay. Now you put in whatever your name is there. He wants to know how she's doing. What is he going to ask her? Uno, dos, tres. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? And if he asks her, ¿Cómo estás? She's going to tell him. What is she going to say? Tell your teachers. Uno, dos, tres. Estoy bien. Okay. Now, he's got a friend there, and she wants to know what the friend's name is. So she asks him, ¿Cómo se llama tu amigo? ¿Cómo se llama tu amigo? And if she asks him that, and he's going to present his friend, what is he going to say? Uno, dos, tres. Te presento a David. Te presento a David. Oh. Now, what do you say when you meet someone? What do you say? Do you remember? Much something. Uno, dos, tres. Mucho gusto. Mucho gusto. And if someone says mucho gusto, how do you answer? Uno, dos, tres. El gusto es mío. El gusto es mío. Okay. Now, she wants to know how old he is. So what is she going to ask him? Uno, dos, tres. ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? And if he answers her, say he's 11 years old. How's he going to say that? Tell your teacher now. Uno, dos, tres. Tengo 11 años. Tengo 11 años. Now, maybe they want to talk later on the phone. So, how do you ask for someone's phone number? Uno, dos, tres. ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? And if somebody asks you this, how can you answer them? Uno, dos, tres. You can say, mi número de teléfono es el 555-1234, or whatever your phone number is. That is, if you want to give them your phone number. I tell you what, now I'm going to show you a couple of things that you all may want to know. Okay, so be sure to get these copied into your workbooks. If you're speaking Spanish so far, a Spanish speaker may ask you this question. ¿Hablas español? They may ask you, ¿Hablas español? And they want to know if you speak Spanish. What are you going to say to them? Well, you can't say no because you speak a little bit. You can't say, yes, I speak it all. So you'll say, sí, un poco. Repitan todos. Sí, un poco. Okay. If a Spanish-speaking person says a word that you don't recognize, there's a way that you can ask what it means. You can say, ¿Qué quiere decir? And then you say the word. ¿Qué quiere decir? And then whatever word. And this means, what does that mean? What does that word mean? Okay? So you might want to use that one. Make sure you get that copied down. Or if you know a word in English, but not in Spanish, okay, you can ask this. ¿Cómo se dice? And then say whatever word it is in English. ¿Cómo se dice dog en español? Okay? ¿Cómo se dice dog, or any word, en español? And that means, how do you say this word in Spanish? Okay. Now remember to practice those enough so that you'll remember them, and I'm sure that they'll come in useful. Ahora, I told you that we were going to be discussing something important that happened over 500 years ago. Now, it has something to do with the United States, North America. Can anyone guess what it was? That's right. It was Columbus's first voyage, or el primer viaje de Colón. El primer viaje de Colón, the first voyage of Columbus, because in Spanish his name is Cristóbal Colón. And that's how they called him in Spanish, Cristóbal Colón. Now I've got a story that I'd like to show you that we got from our CD-ROM that we do on units 6 through 10. But I'd like to share it with you now, so let's go ahead and look at it right now.
Este es Cristóbal Colón, con el mapa de España. España es parte del continente europeo.
Now when you have this program, you'll be able to read these in Spanish and also by clicking on a button in English.
This is Christopher Columbus with the map of Spain. Spain is part of the European continent. Esta es Isabel la Católica, reina de Castilla. Los reyes católicos fueron los que patrocinaron el primer viaje de Colón. This is Isabella, the Queen of Castile. The Catholic kings were the ones who sponsored Columbus's first trip. Cristóbal Colón y sus compañeros salieron del puerto de Palos, España, el 3 de agosto de 1492. Christopher Columbus and his companions left the port of Palos, Spain, on August 3rd, 1492. Las tres carabelas que los llevaron se llamaban La Niña, la Pinta y la Santa Maria. The three caravels that took them were called the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Navegando sobre el mar, los barcos se encontraron con una serpiente de mar. ¿Crees tú en las serpientes de mar? Sailing on the sea, the ships met up with a sea serpent. Do you believe in sea serpents?
Now we're still working on this, trying to get this ship sailing across, but we have a few bugs still that we need to work out.
Después de navegar por 70 días, el vigilante exclamó, ¡Tierra! ¡Tierra! After sailing for 70 days, the watchman cried out, ¡Land ho! ¡Land ho! Llegaron primero a la isla de Guananí. Cristóbal Colón le llamó San Salvador. They arrived at the island of Guanahaní first. Christopher Columbus called it San Salvador.
They were actually looking for China and Japan, and they thought they had arrived in India. So they sailed around the islands for several months before leaving in January to return to Spain. On March 5th, they arrived back to land in Europe, and the rest, as they say, is history. In the New World, here, October 12th is celebrated as El Día de la Raza, or the Day of the Race of People, because of the coming of Europeans to the Americas marked the beginning of a new race of people, of blended blood of European and Native American, or La Raza. Okay. Right now I'd like you to go ahead and take a look at the activity sheet for today called El Primer Viaje de Colón, or the first voyage of Columbus. Let's look at that now. Go ahead and start by putting your name up at the top. Roberto T.O. Try writing your name in Spanish and don't forget to say the letters as you go along. Columbus's ships, La Niña, La Pinta, and La Santa Maria, left Spain on August 3rd, 1492, and arrived in what was for them the Americas on October 12th, 1492. These ships carried 90 men and boys to a new world. Here's a map tracing the route of Columbus. And the questions start up here. How many days did Columbus and his men travel? They traveled this many days, and you'll be able to count from when they left till when they arrived to find the answer to that one. Okay. The next instructions tell you to trace the voyage of Christopher Columbus. Here's where he left from Palos de la Frontera. He sailed out this way, came to San Salvador and sailed around some of the islands, and then returned in January to arrive in Lisboa or Lisbon. So what country did Columbus set sail from? Again, you'll be able to remember from the story that we saw and from the readings up here. Okay. In what continent is Spain located? Again, you can use your map, or you can use the information that we got from the video. Where did Columbus think he had arrived? What was he looking for? What were the names of Columbus's ships? Okay. ¿Cómo se llamaban las carabelas de Colón? Now, there's some additional information down here. Columbus was guided by two misconceptions when he sailed in 1492. After consulting Greek and Arab texts, he figured the Earth's circumference to be 25% smaller than it actually is. The second misconception was his assumption that no large landmass lay between Europe and Asia. So, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys work on that by yourself. You might want to find some more information. It's really a fascinating story that sometimes we don't know the entire history of. And there's a lot of things to find out about it. So I'd encourage you to look that up. Okay? Well, now it's time for our despedida. For our goodbye song today, I'd like to sing a different song called La Bamba. And you may note that on the second verse of this song it says, Yo no soy marinero. I'm not a sailor. Soy capitán. I am a captain. Okay? And you may have heard this song before. So canten conmigo. Para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba, se necesita una poca de gracia. Una poca de gracia para ti, para mí. Ahí arriba y arriba. Ahí arriba y arriba, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Bamba, 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 bamba. Yo no soy marinero, yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Bamba, 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 bamba. I'd like to remind you, next lesson we're going to be playing Loteria, so you might want to get your game boards ready for that and your little markers and things. Until we see each other next, muchas gracias, adiós y hasta luego.